Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence in activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. Today is the 10th episode of Looking Within. The weeks do fly, don't they? As a contemplative podcast, Looking Within invites you to examine your own story and journey, spotting areas of both joy and challenge, and not dismissing anything about your life, but rather seeing that God is walking closely with you in all of it. That last part is important. Our aim in these minutes is to provide the time and space to mindfully experience God's immediate and loving presence in a first-hand kind of way, and to experience this deeply felt presence in every part of our daily lives. Alongside these general comments about this contemplative podcast, I hope our weekly visits provide you with several specific things as well. First, some topics that lead you to helpful self-examination in which you see God in more and more places in your life. Second, some quiet moments to access what lies within you so that you can actually hear what your heart and soul might be saying or needing. And third, a definite and growing sense of God's constant presence and love for you. A bonus of your weekly time to look within is also feeling a greater sense of love, connection, and understanding for yourself, which translates into how you feel about and connect with others. I've been meaning to say that you're always welcome to hit the pause button so you can sit in quiet for more than the 3 minutes that I give you. Always remember as well that you can sit for a few more moments of quiet after the podcast ends. And finally, please never feel guilty if you're listening to these episodes in a situation or place where you can't sit in quiet, or feel badly that sitting in quiet isn't comfortable for you. Just listening to the content and prompts is really great too. Now, for today's theme, the first of a 2-part series centered around the question made famous by TV's Dr. Phil, how's that working for you? Today's specific focus, flowing from that larger question, is living in BEV. The letters BEV stand for bitterness, entitlement, being a victim. Again, BEV is bitterness, entitlement, victim. I found these 3 letters to be helpful on numerous occasions when I realize I moved into some form of a bad mood. If I take a moment to analyze what I'm feeling, I see that I may be upset with life or a person, and I may stew about this for several hours, even a day or more. Sometimes someone has said one thing to me, or one little plan or expectation doesn't get lived out in the way I wanted, and all of a sudden I'm harsh or short with others, and just plain feel mad or offended. If I personify this mood I find myself in, I'd say that it has a hardness, an edge to it. I can hear it in my voice and feel it in my body. I'm not that fun to be around when I'm in this place, and I'm not that fun for myself either. My mind becomes overly occupied with stories of how she offended me, or how he ignored me, or how they didn't live up to my expectations. That unspoken kind of script we often write for life and for others. I ruminate in stories, I shut down, I give others the silent treatment, and frankly miss out on the good stuff of life during those moments or hours when I'm stuck in BEV. When I can be alert to and aware of those times when I move into BEV, I can more quickly ask myself, how's that working for you, Julie? The answer is, of course, not very well. I'm miserable, and I'm potentially making others around me miserable. And my bitterness, entitlement, or being the victim, and usually over relatively small things in my life, doesn't solve anything anyways. Some people live their whole life in BEV. They seem chronically angry, offended, miffed at something or someone, and are not that fun to be around. Most of us visit BEV at least every so often, and maybe more often than we care to admit. Let's ponder this during our moments of quiet. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. Using our 3 letters of BEV, standing for bitterness, entitlement, victim, picture the following scenarios that you've likely been in at times. When you felt bitter or resentful, that life isn't working out the way you want it to work. When you felt entitled, that you've paid your dues, but life hasn't delivered you the goods or the rewards you think you deserve. When you felt like a victim, that life just isn't fair, that you've been done wrong by life or by another person. Envision a few of these moments or situations that you've noticed can take you into BEV. Feel how your body and emotions are affected by being in BEV. I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths, in and out, in and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. So, how's that worked for you when you've been in BEV? This is an important topic today, as it reminds us that generally speaking, we are the ones mostly responsible for creating what our day and what our life might feel like. If we spend a lot of time in bitterness, entitlement, and victimhood, feeling that life owes us something or that we've been done wrong by life, people, our workplace, the system, then we somehow shut down. We ruminate in stories, and we get bogged down in bitterness and grudges. We create a kind of hell on earth for ourselves. We become a presence of continual anger and negativity for others, and we create lots of emotional suffering for ourselves. As you go about your day today and moving forward from here, use the letters BEV as a diagnostic when you're in a dark mood of some kind, when you're upset with life or with a person. See if you're living in BEV, bitter, entitled, or are acting like a victim. And then see if you can drop those stories of entitlement and victimhood, gratefully spot your areas of blessings versus disappointments, and live in the abundance and love of God's presence. Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, Gloria-Day, that's DEI.com/lookingwithinpodcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.